Attachments to your pull-up bar don't have to be expensive. Here are some options for you to use to help build your technique and strength in pull-up. One of the initial things you'll need to have is a way to get up to the pull-up bar. Because some of the options are going to require you to get up the pull-up bar without jumping, there are some options that I recommend, either buying or building a plyo box or buying a bench. I actually prefer to use the box over the bench because the box has a more surface area and it's more stable. One of the places I do recommend you start, and where a lot of people actually start at, is with resistance bands. But one of the problems is people never progress farther than the resistance bands. They always use it as a crutch. I want this to be a tool rather than being an assistance. So what I recommend you do is you do use resistance bands as an accessory tool. So what you want to shoot for with the resistance band is you want to have consistency at 10 to 12 reps at a resistance. If you can hit this every single time, then you want to start to decrease the resistance until you get to a body weight pull-up. The reason for the 10 to 12 rep scheme is we don't want to go to muscle failure. We want to go just before that to build the most amount of muscle we can. There are other ways that the resistance band can be used for stretching and muscle activation. You just attach it to the pull-up bar and you'll just do like a lat stretch, or you can also do a tricep stretch. And with those lighter resistance bands, it also can be a good way to get a good pump in the biceps and triceps. Some of my favorite exercises are the bicep curl, tricep overhead extensions, and tricep pushdowns. This is only the beginner level. We're going to progress to more advanced, but still can be used for your accessories. Comment down below how often you do pull-ups. You can do standard static hangs, but I recommend adding some fat grips. Fat grips are another way to fatigue your grip much faster. Because the pull-up bar becomes much thicker, there's more recruitment of your forearm muscles. They do come in different sizes, but I recommend going to blue as a beginner level. Pretty easy. The way that it attaches to the pull-up bar is you just open it up and then put it right on the pull-up bar, but I'd like to slide it on the back side because then my hand will cross over the top of that. Adding gymnastic springs to your pull-up bar can provide more stability in the pec, bicep, triceps, and the upper back region. You can do static dip holds, or you can actually do ring dips. This is just compared to a standard dip. This just requires more stability. These can be a very good option for those of you who are doing CrossFit and scaling pull-ups in a workout. Instead of using a band for a pull-up during a CrossFit workout, I prefer to use the rings for ring rows. And you can scale it however you want by moving your feet front and back, and you can make it as difficult as you want progressing to that pull-up later on. But if buying gymnastics rings isn't an option you want to do, there is an option for you to just put your barbell in the rack and do an inverted row. There are some additional uses you can use these with. You can actually do your muscle up progression from the ground, or you can do some strict variations of muscle ups. One of my newer favorite stretches that I've started doing is just doing some opening in the lat stretches. Having a good set of rings is such a great way to prepare for any CrossFit comp. But there is one other thing that comes into mind when you go to a CrossFit comp. You're always gonna have ropes. And no, I'm not talking about double unders. I'm talking about a climbing rope. One thing I'd watch out for with climbing ropes is make sure you get one that doesn't fray. I got mine for free, and you can tell it's frayed to crap and it's all over my floor. Having a climbing rope is such a great way to build grip strength and also pulling strength for a pull-up. You're able to do rope pull-ups, rope hangs, rope climbs, and legless. With lower ceiling heights and just hanging from a pull-up bar, what are your options to do a full rope climb? The best option, and I like to do a lot of the times, is do from a seated position, and once I get high enough, then I'll start to use my legs to do a rope climb. It isn't a direct transfer to a standard rope climb, but it is as close as you're gonna get. This rope is also very good at helping you build a lot of core strength. Because it isn't stuck in one place, it moves around. You need to have some good core strength as to keep this core tight. When you have to tuck your legs up to do a rope climb, you're gonna start to get that core involved. If you are enjoying the video, make sure you make that like button feel stronger by giving this video a like. But if you don't wanna buy a climbing rope, what are your options? You can just take a towel and do towel pull-ups. But you're only gonna be limited to doing towel pull-ups with this. You can't do any climbing variations. You could buy a neutral grip attachment. This is just gonna get the lats more involved than just a standard pull-up. To make a pull-up even more difficult, people like to add weights. But most of the time in garage gyms, we have to hold dumbbells between our legs. A very cheap and effective option to add weight to your pull-ups is just adding a dip belt. and you can just attach weight in between your legs. That's a good substitution to go for a 1 rep amount of weight instead of going for max repetitions. You can also combine this with more attachments to make it even more difficult. A couple good movements to add this dip belt with is ring dips, pull-ups, and static hangs. You could also do this with strict muscle ups. These are the 3 things I personally use and have helped me build a stronger pull-up. Building a strong pull will also help translate into building a more stronger overhead position and stable. But strength doesn't directly come from CrossFit workouts. These things need to be added in as accessories. So stop using bands during workouts. We need to focus on the correct muscle activation, and during workouts you're going to be going as fast as possible and you won't really be thinking about your fatigue levels and how your technique. And for you beginner CrossFitters, do not rush going into kipping. Make sure you can do 5+ strict pull-ups before you start working on kipping, and do not go for butterflies until you are proficient. We don't need to be looking like a dead fish like this. This is just a sign to have an injury pop up right away once you start doing this. Pull-ups don't have to be complicated to build strength, but this is only one aspect of the body in building strength. Check out this video for more gym equipment for building strength.